So I know that faceless videos do not do very well on my channel, but I was scrolling through my videos last night because one of them came up in the memories when I shared it to Facebook, and wouldn't you know it, I rewatched it, and that was one of the crappiest videos I ever uploaded. So we right now are going to redo the movie review. We might do just one because I have a lot to say about it now that I've went back and relived the experience that was this film. Anyway, we're talking about Weakness, starring Bobby Cannavale and Danielle Panabaker. A bunch of other people that I don't really care about now. I don't think you've seen the other review because before I watched it a few times from my alternate channel, it had 18 whole views. 3 years old, 18 whole views. I'm really just tearing this YouTube shit up. Yeah, so whatever. But anyway, Bobby Cannavale stars as a guy named Joshua Polanski. That name comes in a little later. And he is a school teacher who the movie starts out with his mom finding out she has some sort of terminal illness, some sort of cancer. And she says, I'm not going to go down suffering like my husband did. And he just keeps going, Mom, don't do what you're thinking about doing. Don't do what you're thinking about doing. And honestly, he could have just, you know what, Mom? They could have been coming home from her funeral. And honestly, I wouldn't have even cared if they exposited that she had cancer and she died. Just like give us one scene. But anyway, she takes all the pills in the house, and he keeps trying to call her and everything, and he's dealing with other stuff. He's dealing with his wife wanting to open the marriage, because there's this one scene where there's 4 people there, and he says something awkward, and then she says, honey, don't worry about that. And he says, well, what should we do? So the wife goes off with the guy, and Bobby goes off with the girl, and he tries to be dominating and sexy, and he's like, get on your knees, you little bitch, and crawl towards me. And then she does. And then he's like, actually, no, the last thing I want to do is this. So he goes and he interrupts his wife with that person she was with, and he's all like, nope, close the marriage, I don't want it open. So after they come back from Mom's funeral, they have this passionate sex, and he suggests having a baby, and she's like, no, I don't want to do that. Now, character number 2 that could have just been written out of the movie and it wouldn't even mattered. The main character's autistic brother. He's taken out of the home to go to the funeral. He goes back in the home. Then he's kicked out of the home when he punches somebody's lights out over them changing the channel from the baseball game. I kind of feel like this is one of those negative stereotypes of autistic people. But anyway, Josh is trying to fix his mother's house. So he's up on the roof, and then he falls off the roof and he breaks his back, and he's laid up for a while, and he's just really sad because he's got his back broken. His wife wants to go screw other men because she's not satisfied with him. And he's got his autistic brother living with him. And there was a scene that didn't need to be in there. The wife is just doing some laundry, and then she sees the autistic brother just slapping his little salami, and I'm like, why was that in there? So anyway, they hired somebody to work on the roof, and then the wife stepped out with that guy. And so their marriage is over. However, on the last day of school, this girl came up to Joshua and said, "Hey, Mr. Polanski, can I sign your yearbook? Or will you sign mine?" And he says, "Yeah, sure." And then she says, "Can I sign yours?" And he says, "Oh, I don't get them." And like, as a teacher, I could understand that. You'd end up with like 60,000 of them. Or something. Anyway. Oh my gosh. She rips a page out of her yearbook. And like even half a page. Writes her number down on it. And gives it to him. And I'm like, you dumb bitch. Because you know what's going to happen. But what he's trying to do is he's trying to secure himself this hot, sweet, special ed teacher. And his friend Bart is like, "Man, I'm going to lock that down." So eventually they all go play skee ball after the wife has left, and he put the autistic brother in a different group home. He's out playing skee ball with this hot special education teacher and Bart, and then they run off and they start getting kissy and everything. And I think Bart chases him out of the little skee ball place instead of Joshua just saying, "Yeah, I locked this down, get fucked." Joshua leaves because he's a little puss bag. And then Bart says, "Hey, this is why your wife left you." And then Joshua punches him in the face. And I'm just like, yes, hit him again. But anyway, I guess the teacher, Elizabeth or whatever the fuck her name is like, "Oh my God, I don't like men who punch other men. I just prefer men that are brutish and use the R slur when it's referencing kids with special needs." Good God. So anyway, her and Bart hook up. Just whatever. And he's feeling lonely because he doesn't have his brother. He's in the home and he's probably not very good company anyway. His mom's passed away. His soon-to-be ex-wife isn't taking any of his calls. So he does the thing he probably shouldn't have done. And he calls the just barely graduated, just barely 18-year-old girl. And they go on a little date. And this girl always has, like, so many issues with him. Like, she picks at him all the time. And it's like, bruh, let me see. How old was Bobby when this movie came out? Like, 30-something? I don't know. It came out in 2010, and he's 15 years older than me, so he was 40. I don't know. And I don't know how old Danielle Panabaker was. Probably, like, mid-20s. But let's just say he's 40. His character's 40. And the one girl's only 18. So anyway, they get together. And you know how I said in my previous review that Gil and that one girl who played his wife from the horse movie had no chemistry? I honestly think that was a lot of the writing and directing and everything. This movie, I am saying to you now, is more telly than the horse movie, because the actors in Girl on the Edge were carrying the script on their backs, whereas that one was just cut, scene, and it was like fucking whiplash. This one is just like, oh yeah, we should probably like move the plot along. Yes. And it was a passion project for somebody. The director is also the writer. And I honestly think Bobby did it because he was like, oh my God, I get to be the main character and grow out a beard? Hooray. And circling back to the zero chemistry thing. He had chemistry with his wife and with the special ed teacher. But this little story that we're later supposed to believe is some sort of love story, God, there's no chemistry between these two. It's so bad. Oh, anyway, skip a bit because that's not really important. He does try to get back together with his wife, and she says, "Oh, I'm no longer making ceramic penises for a living. I'm a teacher now." And it's like, okay. And I think she's teaching English to people who speak Spanish. I don't know, and I don't give a fuck. And then, he and Danielle are driving around, and then he starts a fight because he's like, I think he says something like, "What are you expecting from this?" Or like, "Are you expecting long term? Why the hell didn't you go to college? Why did you put off everything?" And Danielle's character is always saying, "My dad, and that's why I'm with you," and all that stuff. "I got myself all figured out." And it's like, I'm here being a character, saying my character, and it's like, God damn it, this is not how you write characters. Son of a bitch. So they have a big fight, and since he fell off the roof a while ago, and they almost get in this car wreck, he gets out and he wants to confront the other passenger, and the guy pushes him against the car, and it fucks him up, because his back got fucked up. A lot of swearing in this video, and it just makes me crazy because she says, "You're supposed to be the grown-up," and I'm like, you dumb bitch, why are you with somebody who's 40? But anyway, they break up, and the mom, I guess, calls the cops or something, and there's an inquisition, right? But he gets cleared of all the charges, and then suddenly he's goofy, stupid, happy. And he's like, "Actually, I'm going to not teach no more, and I'm going to pursue my love of baseball." So they let him be around the underage girls on the softball team. And then, instead of his wife or the special ed teacher coming and being like, "I'm happy to see you succeeding," it's the goddamn teenager. And then years later, his brother's living with him again, and he's in love with his brother's nurse, which, like, oh, that sounds fun. Just never get to clock out of that fucking job. And he sees the teenager again. She's probably like 20-something now, but he sees her again, and then they have a little kissy kiss, and I'm like, not the wife that he had for 15 or so years. There's no closure with that, and sometimes you just don't get closure. But yeah, that's the end of the movie. I'm gonna do The View from Tall as well, because that was the other review that I did. The View from Tall has the same theme of an older man with a younger woman, and she's 18 and he's like 40. But it's executed better. We start out with the girl, I don't remember her name, and let's just call her Lacey, and she's sitting at the table and she's stirring around her cereal, and her mom hands her a note that says, "We will know if you didn't go to your appointment." And then her sister comes up, gives her a hug from behind, and sneakily steals her journal out of her backpack. And then she reads it to her friends in the bathroom. The tall girl goes to school, and they start bullying her. There's this one blonde bitch that bullies her, and this one little fat quarterback that bullies her. And her sister's not very sympathetic, so she ends up going to this counselor, and he is disabled. He's in a wheelchair. She puts her hands around his lighter to make sure his cigarette gets lit, and then later she finds out he's her counselor. And he's trying to convince her that the teacher that seduced her was not a good guy, and he's not going to call her back. He's not. Anyway, it flashes back to the bullying and how the girl was bullied because she wrote some poetry, and then the idiot blonde bitch is all like, very rude to her about her poetry and bullies her. And instead of the tall girl, like, smacking the shit out of this little twat, she's just like, stop reading it. And then here comes the teacher being the savior. And so, of course, they hang out after school, they hug, and then they kiss, and he, like, lays her face down on the desk, and I'm just like, that's a little weird for your first time, but okay, whatever. Her parents are, like, less than impressed with her. They say to her, either he raped you or you are a whore, and I did not raise a whore. Her sister's dealing with, the fact that everybody, knows that her sister was groomed, but everybody's being rude to the girl, of course. She's trying her best to just talk it out with her counselor, and she's not wanting to hear him say that the person who groomed her is, not a good guy. So she slaps him and she pushes him against the fucking, whatever, because the desk, because she's tall and she has use of her legs and whatever. Anyway, doesn't work out. He pushes her away and says, I never want to see you again. So, whatever. Later on, the sister comes, brings this dark liquid to her that's full of lots of strong alcohol, and it's in a Pepsi bottle. So she gets wasted, and then the sister drives her to the counselor's place late at night because she says she's having a crisis. And then she admits that he was not a good guy and he's not coming back and whatever. And then he says, I'm still not your counselor. I don't think I can do that. And then they start just sort of becoming friends and hanging out. And the sister comes to him and says, could you just leave her alone? Because I know how she feels about you. And it's not good. And they just start talking and they're all friends. And then towards the end, she's like saying, well, I don't know what I want to do for my 18th birthday. And he's all like, want to go into the city? And she dresses in this nice little black dress, and she dances with somebody who can actually walk, and then she dances with him. He gets on a walker, and she dances on that walker and whatever. His legs are never going to work. That's all the thing. I think he got hit by a drunk driver, and his wife or whatever died in that. We always got to fridge somebody. Anyway, long story short, she's 18 and she goes back to her house. Her parents are out of town. Her sister's drunk. And then her sister spits out some phrases that, because he's there. Her sister spits out some phrases to both of them that she would not know unless she were reading the journal. And then I think, honestly, the bitch slaps her sister. But we're going to go back to a different part. Before these two went on a little date, they were hanging out in his van talking about whatever school he went to, their fight song. And then she gets a phone call. Her sister's at a party with the little chubby quarterback who bullies her. He convinces her to take her top off, and he steals her top and her bra and leaves her topless in the closet. And then he runs out and he's like, it's true, the McEnroe or whatever the hell their last name was, sisters do like older men. His sister's younger and probably had a lot more sex. But anyway, the one girl's friend, who I don't know why she didn't just grab the clothes and then go get her in the closet and leave, but the one girl's friend calls the sister. The sister goes in, punches the boy in the face, and smacks him in the head with a fucking football helmet. Then she gets her sister out of the closet, and everything's fine for a while. But anyway, cut back to the night they went on their little date, because I got things out of order, and I'm not very good at this. He said, okay. She said, okay, let me drive you home, or something. Or they just left. And then, it starts getting steamy. She says something like, well, let's be honest. We're in the car. We can be honest. She scoots over to him and puts his hand between her legs and everything. And then they have sex. And, she's gonna go off to college pretty soon. And so she starts taking all the shit down from her, wall. She kind of sort of makes peace with her parents and everything. They say they forgive her. And, her sister comes in and she says that she's sorry. And there's something else that she says that was a pretty significant moment. Something like, I never should have read your journal, and something else. And she says, I really wish you wouldn't go because I feel like I've never gotten to know you. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, she hugs her sister and she's like, well, I have to go for me. So she goes to say goodbye to her counselor one last time, and she's got it in her head that this is going to be a big romantic gesture, and he says to her, I'm never going to walk again, and all I'm going to do is weigh you down. You need to go to school, and you need to live your life. And then she goes to school. And here's the thing. While I will rate Weakness 1 star, I think I honestly, even though there was the age gap and whatever, I don't hate this one. Like, to revisit it, I kind of feel like it would be 4 stars instead of 5. I hated Weakness more upon thinking about it, but I don't know. The View from Tall is still one that I like. Yeah, there's some problematic themes in it and whatever, but I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you next time. I don't know when that next time is. See you next time. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm going away now.